but I'm not surprised either.
So I figured I'd give you some more inside stuff.
Okay.
And then after that, hopefully we're in the clear.
Okay.
And then we'll start progressing like with the recon and all that stuff. But obviously like recon and everything, you have to be like working outside.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it's at least, I mean, I passed by a park the other day and the snow was like super high as is. So.
Yeah, I know our backyard is like, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, I can imagine. So I figured we'd do more inside stuff, and then once we, after that, we'll start doing recall, because we'll be kind of left without options, really.
Yep.
So, how did it go this week?
Well. We did the place.
Yeah, he was doing really well with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we practice plays with him every day.
Like literally every day, he would stay.
We even tried ringing doorbell and stuff, and he tried to jump off the first couple times, but then after like the third time, then he didn't move.
Sure.
After getting zapped.
Yeah. What was the number when you had to remote him?
It was 11
Oh, okay, sure.
for the doorbell, but the other times it's been like 8.
8, yeah, I've used 8, and he goes straight to the play. He goes straight to play.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the longest he's done?
We had him like 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours?
Yeah.
Nice.
You just had that.
Yeah, several different times. And then like we've been doing basically like an hour a day.
But the minute you put the collar on him, he just
calms
like
down.
is compliant with everything.
Yeah, I mean, that makes like with people, right?
Yeah.
You know, if there's a police officer around, all of a sudden everybody remembers the speed limit.
Yeah.
So, that's why I always tell people when you need it, you know, because the dog's not always going to be under control,
Yeah.
right? But it's like if we're going to have guests come over or anything like that, going
Yeah.
for a walk.
We have a friend coming over tomorrow, so we'll test it out.
Perfect. Yeah, that was gonna be my next question, if you had tested out with anybody outside of the home.
We've only had his mom, and he's pretty
No,
used to
the
his
people
mom.
who come to the house were like, we had some like electricians, but we brought him here just because.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, just because we had to work at the same time.
Yeah, it's too much.
But this weekend we'll try with her friend.
Yeah. But then it was like the same thing. He came home and he was like, it was like a rampage. to the
Yeah, he was
house.
sniffing all over the place.
Sure.
It is kind of tough with like the bonker thing to like catch up with him, like especially when he comes in. If it's like at the front door, that's fine. And even kind of when I pull out the towel, then he kind of stops. Like he'll notice that okay, like she means business.
Yep.
But when he like got home after, I think we had like 3 or 4 different people working at our house, like on I don't know Tuesday of this week. And when he came home, he was like in a panic.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, but you couldn't chase him because
It was hard to like change because he was running like up and down the stairs around the house, so it was hard to change.
But I think you said not to zap him, right?
Well, if he's got the collar on, you can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was just more so like giving you an option because you're not always going to have the collar.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you walk in and he's got the collar on and he goes into that state, you absolutely can.
And I think
Okay.
what we'll probably have to do is like those times when he comes back from here, probably leave the collar on when he comes in the home.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that we can.
So you can get him, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the front door is fine because it's like, you know, a concealed area, but if he's running around the house, he's acting wild.
Now, when it comes to the pursuit, like let's say, for instance, some dogs will learn like, oh, you got the towel, and they'll play keep away, right? Where they'll stay back so that you can't correct them.
Yeah.
I'll continue to pursue them, and they calm, but you know, diligent fashion. And eventually they kind of get the hint of like, oh crap, like this isn't a game. And they kind of sit down and see the ears go back. And then typically people go, okay, well you know what, you know, you learned your lesson. I still correct. So when you said like if you pick up the towel, he's like, oh, it's business time. If he stops the behavior, you still correct. Okay? Because you want him to or to associate like, the only way to not be corrected is just you don't do it.
Got it.
Because if he does it, he sees the towel and then he stops, you're gonna play that game.
Oh, okay, so still corrective. So
Yeah.
I'll work on that this week with him.
For sure, yeah. Always follow through, even if the dog stops behavior. So I know, in terms of like your window of correcting, as long as the dog's within the context, you can correct, right? So like, let's say he's barking out the window. I pick up the towel, right? Maybe in the kitchen, and it's gonna take me 8 seconds to get to Russ. People are like, oh, well, by the time I get there, the dog's not gonna remember. But the fact that, like, what happens is the dog looks, right, and they acknowledge, and you have the bunker, and now I'm 8 seconds away, is it still keeps them in that frame of mind. And if I correct it when I get there, 8 seconds later, it still ties. Okay?
Because I've wondered about that too.
Yeah, but let's say, same scenario, you pick up the bonker, he looks at you, someone calls, hello, okay, and then you hang up, you've lost it. Because you've you broke the moment.
Okay.
So as long as you have it and you keep it, so like let's say he started to run away, and 15 minutes later he stops running and he sits down, he puts his ears back and you correct him, he still ties it.
Oh, okay.
So I did that this morning because he got up on the couch, screamed, barking out the window. Then he saw me pick up the thing, started running, and I just went after him.
You still got him?
Yeah, I just went after him, and then I got him pretty good, and he just left to see him.
Yeah, he didn't bark out the window at all today.
No, because I did it the window, because I actually chased him.
No, when you chased him.
Well, because he was running around because I think he saw me.
Sure.
And then I got him, and then he just was like, okay. I just went back in the room. He's like, okay, I'm good.
Oh, God.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that happened. That was before I got up again.
Yeah. So like right there, you're like, oh, he hasn't barked all day.
Yeah.
But this morning you said, well, I pursued him.
Yeah, this morning. Yeah, he did this morning, and then I got him.
Yeah.
And it kind of shows you how that resonates.
Yeah.
Right. So.
He barked at the doorbell, but not out the window.
Sure.
So. Yeah.
So
that's progress
with that, let's say you keep that up consistently now, right? Is you'll start to see bigger gaps.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have to understand he's being driven by instinct, and it's always gonna be there.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can't make him not a dog.
Right.
Right. So like if a dog has prey drive, I'll tell the owner like you're not gonna take out the prey drive. We can control it, we can harness it, but we're not pulling out the dog because it's in the genetic code, right?
Right.
So for him, as you are consistent, your rate of corrections is going to become more infrequent. But he's still gonna every time he hears something, it's gonna trigger. But you'll just have a much easier time of addressing him. You know, it's like again, my dogs, I've had them, 8-9 years. I still have to correct them. It's just super infrequent.
Yeah.
You know.
So the dog will never get to the point where they'll hear the noise and just kind of walk away. They'll always kind of be at least like fighting themselves.
Yeah, because they're reactive, they're impulsive. I mean, even like for me, like I got like maybe a red light ticket a year or so ago, and I got one 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm the same one.
Yeah, right? So it's like not even humans, you know. We're always like, well, am I gonna get to get at this light? You know? So I look at it the same way, but the good thing is, since it's on you, if you're super consistent, he's gonna be consistent. That's the main thing, and as it gets easier, and you get better with correcting, like today that sounds like a good correction because you just saw how that resonated throughout the day. Same thing with my guys, like it's super infrequent that I have to correct them for something, but I still do because they're dogs. We make mistakes, they're gonna make mistakes, and we know better, right? Like I know I shouldn't run a red light, but I still gambled it. Now I got $100 to get fine, waiting for me. So yeah, but all that sounds good.
And then are some dogs just like more, because I feel like, like just thinking about like my dogs growing up or whatever, they like didn't really bark at the door, like even if someone came. Are some dogs just more chill, it's just a personality thing?
It's super rare that you get a dog that actually doesn't bark. And doesn't care about anything. It has nothing to do with breed and stuff, it's really just personality type.
Got it.
But it's super rare.
Yeah.
So, and you had how many dogs?
We've had 4 dogs growing up. Some of them, like my mom's current dog is crazy barking at the door. Like,
Sure.
But our last one was pretty chill actually.
Yeah, I think people get, they get used to that. Like I had a client who had like labs all his life, and then he got the 10th lab, and he was off the rocker.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've had 9 other labs, and they've all been perfect dogs.
Yeah.
What's wrong with this one? I'm like, it's just that dog's personality type. Like, you're putting it on the breed when really it was about the dog's personality types. I had a client, he had 2 King Rottweilers from the same breeder. He bought a third one. Third one put a 6-inch scar right here inside of my stomach.
Oh my God.
Very human and dog aggressive towards anything and everything it saw.
Wow.
And he was like, I got this dog from the same breeder. I got my other 2 Ronnies and they were perfect. And I'm like, yeah, it's just genetics,
Yeah. Were you able to fix it and help him?
So the problem he had, so technically no, is I kept telling him to muzzle condition his dog, and he wouldn't do it. Yeah. So I stopped the lunging and barking. Like you couldn't even walk past this guy. You couldn't go in the elevator, none of that stuff. We fixed all that. But I told him, I'm like, this is a liability. You take this dog to the vet. At some point, you need to take the dog to the vet. You're gonna need a muzzle, to get the shots and all that stuff. And he just couldn't get the dog. He wouldn't muzzle train him. So that's what we need. Because for me to do more stuff, I was like, I need your dog to do muzzle training.
And he just wouldn't do it.
Wow. He wouldn't do it, yeah. So, anything else?
No,
No?
I think I've been impressed with him being.
Yeah, the place command has been great.
Yeah, and then we'll do a break and he'll just get up.
Yeah.
Now, does Russ have any concept of the down command? With food or anything?
No, he does down pretty well.
Does he do down like on a verbal cue?
Yeah, he does.
Okay, can I have you show me please?
Yeah.
Just do what you normally do.
Most of the time.
Most of the time, yes.
Yeah. Russ. Sit. Down. Okay, well, he just wanted to lay down.
Okay. Have you ever tried to make him lay down for any period of time?
I've tried like, no, not only like when we just trying to train him in the beginning, but it wasn't like on purpose.
Okay. Does he have any allergies?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put pressure behind this, okay?
Okay.
So down, much like place command, is meant for extended use. So if you sit down and you don't want him to move for an hour, he doesn't move for an hour.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he definitely does not do that.
Yeah, so we're gonna put pressure behind it. So let's go ahead and grab the remote there, and you dip it down to whatever. I'll actually have you find your number real quick. So we're gonna go like, this is the same output as your current color.
Okay.
So if we went down to 8, that's normal working over.
Yeah, I'll start at 8. Let's see.
And you'll see we have a connection here.
Sit. Down. I think I'll do that. Down.
Okay. So go ahead and release them.
Okay, great.
And I'm gonna have you just keep them in a free state here. And go ahead and tap to see if you have connection. Tap. 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 Go ahead and bump your number. Tap. 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 And bump it. Tap. 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 Bump it.
And the color's on right now.
You can hit the pager. I checked it, but
Oh, okay.
doesn't have to double. Yeah, it's
Oh,
on.
yeah, I think you got it.
Okay, I'll tap. 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 What's your number now?
15.
Okay. Tap. 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 Pump it.
19.
Tap. Tap. Pump it. Does anybody know what that clicking means? Tap. 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 Okay, pump it. Tap. 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 Right there. Excellent. What number are you at now?
35.
So lightly pull in towards you and tap. Yep. There we go. Good. Good. Let's see what happens here. Good. So this is chicken, right?
Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, that's good.
Now what's inside? Okay, now what's inside?
Just get out of the.
Try to be nice today, Russ.
I'm trying to give you
Alright.
food.
It's okay. So what we're gonna do here, I was gonna see if it'll help him incentivize a little bit more. What we're gonna do is, I know he definitely knows down, he knows to sit, is we wanna put it on the verbal cue. So we're not having to do exact motions, right? But also, when we say down, that he lays down and doesn't move for a period of time, okay? Let's go and go down to 18. And I hope we keep that connection. And what we're gonna do is going to stand like this to us, the other way. So he's on your left, right? Lightly pull in, yeah. Wait a moment. Let's go down to 12. Looks like you felt that. And you're gonna let your leash go slack. And you're gonna put your foot, and you're gonna put tension. So you're gonna put the leash underneath your foot. So when you pull up like this, it puts tension on the back of his neck. Okay? Yeah, go ahead and shorten it a little bit if you need to. Shorten over the left hand. So you're gonna grab closer up. Yeah. Okay, so now go ahead and just lift your foot up like this. Put the leash so that it's underneath the crack between the, there you go.
Oh, so I can kind of.
Yeah, like that. Okay, you're gonna put a little bit of pressure until you feel it on the back of his neck here. About there.
Okay.
Now tap. Pull some more slack. Tap. Wait a moment. Let's go down to 8. And we're gonna praise this.
Okay.
Praise him.
Good boy.
Good. And break.
Break.
Good. Remember, we're gonna repeat that one more time.
Okay.
Good. 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 Wait a moment. Wait a moment. Break.
Good boy. Good boy.
Break.
Break.
Good. Four more. I mean, three more.
Give yourself tingles.
Good.
Oh, wow.
Good. Break.
Good boy.
And let's step down.
Break.
Let's go down to 5.
Okay.
We're gonna do it 2 more times.
Playing games with me, Russ.
Good. There you go.
Good boy.
Okay, we're gonna do one more.
Break. Break. Oh.
Yeah, so here, if this happens,
Uh-huh.
lightly pull up and tap. 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 Tap.
Rusty.
Yeah, good. So here, when you pull up,
Uh-huh.
it's just enough that you feel a little bit of pressure on the throat, and then
Okay.
tap, right there, right, tap, and you're gonna keep it consistent. So lightly up. Okay. So, like this,
Oh, okay.
and tap, 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 and then relax. Now go bump it, let's go to 7. Lightly up, tap, tap, tap. 9.
He's like glued to the floor now.
Yeah. Tap, tap, tap. 11. Tap, tap, tap. 15. Tap, tap, tap. 20. Tap, tap. There we go. Wait a moment. Right. Tap, tap. Wait a moment. Right. Don't tap. Wait a moment. Tap, tap. Wait a moment. Tap, 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 tap. Wait a moment. Tap. 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 Number now.
20.
24. Good, light pressure, tap. Wait a moment. Tap. 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 Good. So when I get a dog that spasms like that, I grab real close
Okay.
to limit range of motion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now when I'm pulling up, it's just enough that I can like barely feel it,
Mm-hmm.
and we want the remote to be what gets him to pop up.
Okay.
Because right now he's learned remote means what?
Down.
Down.
Correct.
Yeah.
So like I said, he's like melting into the ground, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, how much more down do I have to go?
Yeah.
So we do opposing commands.
Mhm.
We do downwards pressure with e-collar,
Mm-hmm.
means lay down. Upwards pressure means sit up.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to gradually increase it like we always do. And so
Mhm.
eventually he goes, hey, what I'm doing isn't working,
Mhm.
right? what happens if it's because it's 50-50, or technically he has the option: sit, lay down, or stand. And if he's in the down, it only leaves sit and stand, right? We've not taught stand. We've taught sit through the heel, the sitting position. Yeah. So then he has to just think and go like, what do I do to get this to go away? So we keep the pressure on, light pressure on the leash, and just every 3 taps or whatever, just bumping. So eventually he sits up and holds a position. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Let's go back down on the remote. We're gonna go down to 8. And you're gonna put light pressure on the leash here. Tip. Wait a moment. And praise.
Good boy. Good boy. Good job.
Good. See if he takes it now. Still no. Right then.
He's sometimes picky about his treats too.
Okay.
Well, I lowered his food, I would think he'd be starving.
Yeah.
Why, how's that going?
He's definitely looking for more.
He goes back, it's kind of sad. He goes
Yeah,
back
it's kind of
to
sad. I
the
feel
floor,
bad.
it's
I'm
It's like there's supposed to be another patty in here.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me go ahead and have you position yourself beside him again. And then lightly up on your leash. Like that, good. And when you put pressure up, exactly.
Oh, I didn't even check.
Right, good.
Okay.
So here, when you're going up earlier, you were bobbing. So, and when I just put it and keep it very light. Because when you remember pressure on, when we need them to do something, pressure off once it complies, right?
Okay.
So when you're bobbing, it's like pressure on, pressure on, pressure on, pressure off. So you're like, well, what am I supposed to be doing? So very light pressure, keeping it consistent and letting the remote, of course, do the work for you. Same thing, left foot on that leash there. Tip. Wait a moment. Good.
Good boy.
And you're going to keep where you're at, and then lightly up on your leash. Yep, tip. There he goes. Good, and relax.
I didn't even tap actually.
You can praise that.
Good boy.
Good, okay. So what we're doing is reteaching the commands. It's sitting down, but it's sitting down through leash pressure and remote. Okay? So most people think, well, if the dog already knows down, if they don't do it, I just remote them. They go, no, you're gonna see what we saw earlier. He's gonna panic, okay? So you have to use pressure to teach him to go into the position.
Okay.
So he understands, oh, there are other options for turning off this contraction. And then once I do so, it goes away. So that one where we made him really think about it and we went up to 24 for the sit. Since then, lightly up, tip. And then relax, very good.
Like he gets it now.
He's getting it much more quickly, right? So most people go, oh, Jesse, reset, the dog doesn't know what's going on. I'm like, I know they don't know what's going on. They're a dog, right? They don't think like we do. So I keep them in that moment and I help them figure it out, okay? So in his brain, he was trying to process, like, what do I got to do? Because laying down is not the option. And ever since he figured it out, and it took us maybe a minute to 2 minutes, he's been pretty spot on and pretty easy in response to that pressure.
He just had to get it first.
Exactly, okay? So now what we're going to do is start to layer in the words, okay? So you're going to keep your position, you're going to cue the word down, and I'm going to have you not use your hand or your body language. You're simply going to say Russ down. I'm sorry, not Russ, you're going to just say down. And then if we don't see a response within a second or so, you're going to tap. And if you don't see a response, you're going to tap and then step on the leash.
Okay, so don't add pressure when you say down.
Correct.
Okay. Down.
Tap. 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 Go ahead and pump it, so it'll love it. Pump it, feeling it. Tap. Perfect.
Cigar. Good boy!
See that?
Yeah.
Okay, so
So he knew what I was saying, he just didn't want to listen at first, or?
it's not
Or he was confused.
tied yet, right? Because before, I'm assuming you did down with treats and sit and stuff.
Yeah, we did use treats before,
So he knew the skill, it just had no meaning, right? Because like for me, my mom used to tell me to do stuff, and it didn't mean anything, so like that's faked. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like here, we're putting pressure behind it, we're saying like, hey, this now means something, right? So there, when he said down and you tap, we saw this, right? And plus he just learned this, right? So I'm sure if you would have went with your hand, he would have done it. But I want him to go to that cue, and I want to make it super obvious that he's responding to the remote.
Got it.
So you tap 3 times on 8, and since I saw the flinch, instead of having you step on it, I said, go to 11.
Okay.
And then once he felt 11, there he's falling asleep. There he went. Okay. So now I'm going to cue the word sit.
Sit.
Tap. 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 Now keep tapping and lightly up on your leash pressure. Tap. Like that, and then relax. Lightly up. Tap. And then relax.
Good boy.
Good. Okay. So we're creating a new sequence. Before the sequence was, I say sit, you do so treat. I say down, you do so treat. But there was nothing that said if you don't do it, there's a consequence. So now we're balancing it out. We go, hey buddy, I say down, if you don't do it, there's a consequence. If I say sit, you don't do it, there's a consequence. Okay? I'll go and cue down.
Down.
Tap. Tap. And praise.
Good boy.
Good. And you see how he's laying down much more smoothly now? Part of that is because we're removing the leash pressure.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So for dogs, or for Russ, it was the leash pressure plus the remote pressure, which caused him to overreact. Okay, so now that we remove the leash pressure, he's going into the down position much more smoothly, which is what we're looking to see. Okay? Sit.
Sit.
Okay. Now lightly up. Tap. There you go. Wait a moment. Good.
Good boy.
Good boy. Go and you're going to say break. I'm going to have you walk around a circle.
Break.
And then reposition. Good. Sit.
Sit.
Tap. Good. Wait a moment. Right.
Good boy.
Right. Down.
Down.
Tap. Tap. Wait a moment. Tap. 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 Now hold the leash pressure. Yep. Right. And there you go.
Good boy.
Yeah, boy. And break. We'll reposition again.
Break. Break. Sit.
Good.
Good. Oh.
Now lightly up tap. Good.
Down.
Good.
Good boy.
Up tap. 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 Open up a little bit. Open number.
This is good now, he has distraction.
Yeah. A bit. Good.
Good boy.
What'd you end up opening it to?
19.
That.
Sit.
Tap. 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 Lightly up. Tap. Good.
Good boy.
And I'll pause right there. Okay. So here, he's getting a better concept of it. What problem do you think this is going to create?
That he'll only listen when he has the collar on, or?
Oh, me, aside from that.
Oh, okay.
That you're walking and he just sits and lays in.
Yeah.
Oh, got
When
it.
you're walking the heel, because we're doing down from sit.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. So a lot of trainers will teach you, will tell you don't train your dog to down from the sit because of that problem. Okay.
Oh, got it.
So we're gonna fix that.
Okay.
And the way you fix it is simply when you're in a heel, and you come to a stop. If Russ were to auto sit and then auto down, you would simply tap first, and if he doesn't sit up, keep tapping and then lightly pull up
Okay.
to put him in a sitting position. We would not say sit because he's not in a sit, he's in a heel, right? And it's an auto sit. So here, eventually he'll learn, hey, every time I'm in the heel, if I tap, 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 like that, perfect, tap, good. Eric, if I'm in a heel and I lay down and tap,
You're in a half sit.
There you go, better. If I'm in a heel and I down and we come to a stop, this kicks in and doesn't disappear until I correct myself. Okay, and that's how he'll unlearn that behavior. But because dogs are creatures of habit, if you do sit to down, he's gonna get really used to that. Okay. So like right now, when he tried to lay down from that sit, and you tapped and you corrected him, that's the exact same thing you do for the heel if that were to happen. The other reason why I said to hold here is because I figured that was going to happen. So the other thing that we're doing is we're clarifying for him. Sit is sit, down is down. There's no switching between the two unless I release you or I give you the command to do so. Okay. So if you were to be in the down and you were to prematurely sit up, you would tap and continue to tap, add pressure if needed to re-down him. Okay. So we have to reinforce the command to what it is. It's not as lenient as the place command, because place is sit down, stand up, I don't care. Just don't move. With these commands, they're very strict. Sit or lay down, but there's no in between. Okay? Questions on this so far?
No.
Okay? So we're gonna keep him in to sit here. Let's go to swap handlers.
Okay.
So when you're swapping, you're gonna watch what he does. Tap, tap, tap. Right there, good.
Good boy.
So even if we swap handlers, that stay or whatever command it is you gave, that was given last, is in effect until the new handler goes break, says down, says heel, or whatever. Okay? So go ahead and cue the word break. Break. Good. I'm gonna have you walk with Russ, and you're gonna come to a stop, and we're gonna run through a couple of those sits and downs here. Second. Down.
Down?
Yep. 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 What's your number, Karen?
19.
Let's go 24. Yep. 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 20. Yep. 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 32. Gonna keep bumping and tapping. And bump it. Oh, which one are you pressing?
This one?
The other one.
Oh.
So let's go down.
I was like, damn, he's soldiering this out.
Yeah, so what are we at now?
I'm gonna go back to 15.
Okay, yes. So tap. 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 20. Tap. 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 24. Tap. 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 Knee. Tap. 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 32.
Wow.
Yes.
What's going on?
Tap. 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 36.
So we're back to it.
Tap. 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 40. Tap. Tap. Right there. Wait a moment. So go here. Go and cue down.
Down?
Tap. Now here, up on your leash. Oh, there he goes. Now relax. Perfect. Okay, cool. 40.
Cool.
Right, tell us with that connection.
Okay.
So here, go ahead and cue the word sit.
Sit.
Tip. Tip. Yep, bump it. Tip. There you go, right there. Okay, what's your number now?
43.
But get some food from your face. There we go. Go and tell him break, circle around.
Good. Break.
Okay. Stop. Good. Now here, what he does doesn't matter, right? Because we're not in a heel or anything like that. We said break, and he's opting them down, that's perfectly fine, okay? So since he opted for a down instead, we're just gonna go to the sit, okay?
Sit.
Tip. Tip. Right, wait a moment, tip. Right there, okay? So here, you're making them think more in response to taps, right? So that's why I like to kick in with the pressure first, once I've taught the concept. Because if we always pull up and tap, the pull up is really what's getting them to sit, and not the tap itself, right? So here, once I see the dog has good concept, I like to go to pressure first. Because right there when you said sit and he tapped, he sat up, but then he laid back down again. And then the same thing, he tapped, he went up, he laid back down. And the third one, he sat up and then stayed up. So you just taught him, hey, when I see the word sit, it means to pop up without any leash pressure, and then keep up, right? Because he also might be thinking, well, you're just going to down me again. So I'm just going to that position anyways, right? So he's jumping ahead. So that's why when people teach things in a sequence, like let's say they'll do like sit, down, sit, paw for retreats, the dog will run to that sequence, right? Because they're used to sit, down, sit, paw,
When we were working on all those things, it was like rapid fire, then he'd roll over, then he'd do everything.
He's trying everything he knows, yeah. So it's the same concept here, except with pressure, we can actually correct him when he jumps ahead. Okay, so I want to make sure that he's listening to your cue and not, assuming this is what we're doing. Okay, going to cue the word down.
Down? Oh.
It's okay.
He was cheating a little bit.
He cheated a little bit, but it's okay. Yep, sit.
Sit.
Tip. Tip. Light pressure up. Tip. 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 Gonna bump it. Tip. There you go. And relax a moment. What did you go to now?
50.
Okay. We're trying to kill him. Down.
Down.
Tip. Wait a moment. Tip. And wait a moment. Right there. Good. Okay. Oh, tip. Wait a moment. Wait. Right there. So, just want to point this out. So, I saw once on Caesar Milan, they had a horse whisperer, and he said that they're teaching the horse something. And he said when they're blinking, they're thinking. Okay, so whenever they're trying to teach the horse something, the horse is blinking, they know that they're trying to figure out the problem. For dogs, it's similar, but instead of blinking, they fidget. They learn to fidget as midget, so I can. So here, when you tap and you see him get up and shuffle around, he's thinking about what he's supposed to do. Okay, so if I see that. Plus we're at a higher power, right? So that's a part of it as well. But that's why I said, wait a minute. Right? When I was like, tap, I'm like, wait a moment. Because I'm like, what are you gonna do next? So if I tap him and he sits up and he circles around and sits and I need the down, once he sits, that's the brain saying, this is my answer. Okay? Tap again, circles around, he sits again.
Wait till he gets the definitive answer.
And then he lays down and I go, that was what I was looking for. So he has to process through all those things. Because if you keep the pressure on him, you're going to make him panic. Okay, because he's already in like, it's kind of like someone trying to rush you for an answer. You're like, hold on, let me think about it. It's the same thing here, okay? So if you tap and you see him actively moving, he's thinking. Okay, now if he's actively moving and moving away from you, you would counter him and tap and tell him, nope, that's not the answer, because he's trying to get away. Here, he was just spinning around going, nope, okay, what about this? Yes. We take pressure off. So you're like, oh, that was the answer. Okay? Go ahead and cue the word sit.
Sit.
Yep. Right. Wait a moment. Good.
Okay.
Down.
Down.
Wait a moment. Good. What are we at now?
47.
Let's go 35. Right. And then you're going to tap to correct that. Right. Yep. Wait a moment. Yep. Wait a moment. Right there. Now, there was a mishap. Did you see it?
No.
Did I miss that?
There was a mishap where he was gonna lay down.
Was he going to when I tapped him?
And then he popped up.
Okay.
So that created some confusion.
Oh, okay.
Okay? It's okay, it happens.
Okay.
So we just handle it like we normally would, okay? Because he's not gonna know. You can't tell me, hey, anybody does my bed. I keep one under the pressure still. I still hold the dog, you know, to the command, okay? But seeing things like that, because remember, we haven't covered this yet, but for Russ, and this is most common with the recall, is when I teach the recall, I always tell people, every time you call your dog, always remote. Because we're trying to force a problem where when we call the dog, they'll have already started moving towards you, and if you tap late, it'll deflect them. Because they're thinking, you called me, I'm coming, and then the remote kicks in and goes, oh, maybe that was incorrect, and they start to run off, okay? So that's kind of like what happened there. So once you see Russ get a concrete, or like as clear of a picture what sitting down means, the tap should actually push them into the position and not out of the position. So
I probably thought he had selected the decision and clicked it too quickly.
Yeah, which is gonna happen, you know, so that's why I'm always watching.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get confusion. It happens all the time with e-collar. But this is why we're doing two things here today. One, instead of resizing or refitting the collar, we're just working through it, okay? Two, working through things like that, where it's like, how do I communicate to him to get him to complete a command using only pressure and as little guidance as possible, okay? Because in an emergency scenario, it's gonna be, I don't have anything tying me to Russ. How do I make Russ comply using only this tool? Okay, so because life's not gonna let you always adjust the collar and tighten it up and move it around and move the fur, right? It could be he's running off and it's okay, what? I need to just get you back there. Okay. So if at home when you work with him, if you ever find like you know you got bad connection or whatever, I would say now going forward, work through it. Okay, so you just get used to it. So like for us, like it happens to us here too with the dogs. Is you'll see us go from like 20, 60, 90, like real fast. Because if I'm at 50 and there's no response from the dog, when I do get connection, they're not going to feel the power. Because they're not even feeling 50. They'll feel like, so if I hit 90 before they feel anything, they're probably feeling like 20.
Got it.
Okay, so then once I figure that out, I start to fiddle around.
Because he has such long hair.
Exactly.
Got it.
Okay, so go ahead and cue the word sit.
Sit.
Good. Wait a moment. Right, tap. Tap. Right, wait a moment. Right. Right.
Oh, he corrected himself.
Yep. Now what's our number now?
35.
Let's go down to 22. Okay. And a lot of that was just a response to an overhit. That big exaggerated motion. Because earlier when we had a nice good connection, he was pretty smooth. Okay. So questions about this stuff so far?
No.
So
It's just kind of funny because like we thought he knew these commands and now he's like, it's like starting over.
We did we did give him food every single time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
And again, food is a great reinforcer, but then what's the punishment if the dog doesn't do it?
Yeah, we don't
Right.
Oh, you don't get anything. But he doesn't equate that.
Yeah.
You know, he's not saying like, oh, like if my mom was like, hey, if you don't do your homework, you're not getting cake. I could tie that together.
Yeah.
You know, he's not like, oh crap, I really wanted that last bit of chicken.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm not gonna get it because I didn't lay down.
Yeah.
So here, this is what we call puppy push-ups. Just going from sit to down. And the reason why I do these two commands back to back is because of the problems that it creates. So you can start correcting things, right? So sometimes we sit him, sometimes we down him, and then like I'll talk for a bit because I want to see, will you hold the position, right? So like earlier he was in a down, right? And then now he's in a sit, and maybe in 2 minutes he tries to lay down, which we would correct them, right? So we're teaching him, no, bud, sit means sit, and you don't have any other option until I give you the command or I release you, okay? Now, let's say you want to add a reinforcer to help Russ differentiate. You can add in food. I have no problem with it. I just don't rely on it to get me reliable results. Right? So like, let's say you go home, you got some treats in your pocket, you tell Russ down, and he just plops. And it's really quick, it's really nice down. Feed it. Right? And then if you say, hey, not hey, let's say you say Russ sit, and he doesn't respond, and you tap him, and it's a little bit of a process before he sits up, then I don't feed it. Okay, I feed only the good ones. So start motivating him like, hey, you know, sometimes I get paid for this stuff. What is it exactly that I'm getting paid for? And you start to target certain responses. And in the process, like if I have a dog that struggles, like I had a dog the other day that struggled with down, the dog kept like panicking and jumping up and like getting vocal. So I said, okay, we're gonna make this super simple. And we warmed the dog up by doing downs first with treats. And then we revisited it with pressure again, very, very light, slow pressure. And as soon as the dog got it, we fed. And then by the end of the class, when I was going down, the dog was plopping. But I had to go about it a totally different way than I normally would by feeding things that I thought that the dog was into that liked. So here, yep, right, and he pops back up again. Okay, so that's how you can tell he's starting to get concept. The tap should always push the dog into the behavior, not out of it. Okay. Questions so far?
No.
So what I'm gonna have you do here is we're gonna keep Russ in that sit. Is going to step out from away from him.
He's in like the most relaxed sit.
Yes. Up. Release. Tap. Up. So what we're gonna do here is working on the implied stay. So when you walked away, when Russ started moving towards you, immediately you would pull up and then tap so that he sits back in the position he was. We're gonna take this for now. So we're gonna step out away from him again. Up, tap. Wait a moment. Tap. 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 That's good. Lightly up. Tap. Wait a moment. Lightly up. Tap. Wait. Tap. Pull towards you a little bit. Tap. Good. Up again. Tap. Relax. There we go. Wait a moment. Now, you're going to very slowly just start to walk around Russ. Good. Good. You're going to come back to the side. And then subtle praise. Good boy. Good boy. Good. I'm going to have you go to the word break, and you're going to walk backwards. Break. Okay. Alright, you're going to cue the sit. Sit. And then lightly up, tap. 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 Pull towards you, tap. Wait a moment. Light pressure up. Tap. Wait a moment. A little bit more upward pressure. Tap. Tap. Wait a moment. Good, now relax your leash. And then shorten just a wee bit. There you go. You're going to step out to the side again. Okay, right there. And then up, tap, 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 tap. Good. Now you're going to start to walk around them. Tap, tap. 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 Right. Lightly up. Tap. Tap. There you go. Wait a moment. A little bit more up. There you go. Now relax. Good. Then walk around. Good. Come back to the side. A little bit of praise. Good boy. We're going to try that again. Break. Break. And then you're going to put him in another sitting position. Sit. Up. Tap. 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 Good. Good. Back to the side. Good. Break. We're going to do that 2 more times. Sit. Good. Now sit to walk around. Up. Tap. Sit. Good. Tap. Now circle around. Okay, up, tap. Okay. Good.
So dramatic.
Break.
Break.
We're gonna try one more. And what's the number now?
22.
Let's go 28. Okay. Okay. Okay, right, good. Yeah. Now walk with them that way. Good.
Sit.
Tap. There he goes, good.
There you go.
Now right there when I said tap because he had started it, if you would have done it, it would have been a delayed hit. We probably would have seen some confusion.
Oh, okay. I didn't even have it.
No, that's
I was
fine.
about
Yeah.
to.
I was just letting you know that
Yeah.
I came in just after he did, so that would have been, that probably where we would have seen some confusion. Just gonna walk around. Tip. 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 Put down pressure. Tip. 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 Almost. Tip. There you go. Good. Then walk around. And pause right there. Good. So what we're doing here is I'm not being picky about where Russ is sitting right now. Ideally, he wouldn't move so drastically.
Yeah.
We want him to sit in as close to the area as possible, okay? What we're doing is we're teaching Russ, when I say sit and I step out and I start moving, if you get up, pressure kicks in. Okay, so right now, because he's still learning, it's taking longer for him, plus he's getting a little flighty, we're trying to pull out, right? So we keep playing with that number, we keep correcting, until eventually he goes, okay, if they put me in a sit, and I get up, pressure kicks in and doesn't turn off until I go back into position. That's when he starts, it's kind of like the place command. It's the exact same concept, right?
Yeah.
If I get off a place, pressure turns on, goes back on, and everything goes away. But place is easier, because it's just go to this area. So he could move within that space, and it's big enough, right? Here, it's very strict. You're trying to keep him from moving as much as possible. So once you start to see he's getting the concept of up and pressure recaller, means to put your butt down, that's going to get a lot easier to correct, and then it's going to be, you'll just be stepping around and walking, and he's not going to move, okay? So when you're doing the sit and down exercises, one thing that you can do to break it up is that, you know, you do a couple of sits and downs back to back, and then on one of them, instead of just continuing the pattern, I step out, I start to walk around. Now I'm working on the concept of sit means put your butt down, don't move. Same thing for the down. Down means lay down, don't move. Okay? Questions about this so far?
So is his reactions like normal? Or
Yeah,
is
the
it-
confusion?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he has to tie together the up tap means put your butt back down. So once he gets that down packed, you'll be able to walk around him and stuff, and he's not gonna budge.
Got it.
Okay? Go ahead and tell him break.
Break.
And I'm gonna have you have a seat here. And then you're gonna tell him down.
Down.
Yep. Wait a moment. Yep. Okay. Shorten leash a little bit. Yeah, right there. Wait a moment. Yep. Tip. 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 There. Okay. Now that took him a little bit to figure out, right? Go ahead and let your leash go slack, and then with your right foot, you're gonna step on it. Like that. Up. Tip. 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 Like that. That's fine. Good. So what we're doing here is once you cue the down, so actually before I get to that, when I said shorter leash, he had too much leash that it gave him a lot of options. So he was trying every other option, right? But the two that we just covered. So as soon as you shorten that leash, what happened?
He does know where to
Lay
go.
down, right?
Yeah.
So by limiting options, we can help him get to the answer faster. And then it said step on your leash. And then the stepping on the leash distracted him, he got up, but then he went back down much more easily, right? Is if you can use place and down interchangeably. Okay, so place and down are meant for extended use. Do this and don't move for the next 2 hours or whatever. Sit is momentary. If you're walking and you're like you see a friend of yours, you're gonna have a conversation, 5 minutes, whatever, he's right at your side, that's fine. But if it's gonna be anything longer, I always just keep the dog until down, or if I have a placement available, I keep it in place, okay? Because I'm gonna need extended duration from the dog. So it's the same concept. You're gonna watch TV or play video games or something like that. Down at your feet, step on the leash. And now when he tries to get up, I tap him. The downwards pressure paired with the e-collar should put him into a down position, and you're not having to get up. Okay, so it's just the exact same thing, except this is much more strict. This is do that and only that. There is no sitting, there is no standing. Okay, so great thing about down, we don't need an object, we don't need a towel, we don't need a blanket, we don't need anything with a perimeter. It's just lay down, right? But it's more strict. Place, more lenient, but it requires you to have something that provides a perimeter.
So that's why you said like at a restaurant or something, it's better to do place if you have an area, because then they can stand up and...
Yeah, so because it's less for you to have to focus on.
Got it.
Right, but if I'm gonna just like, for instance, answer emails, and I don't care, just step on leash down my dog and I can do that, right? But at a restaurant, you want to enjoy yourself and not have to worry so much about what your dog's doing. Most clients just opt for the place command.
Yeah.
Right? Because if somebody came over and like, oh, your dog's so pretty, and they started petting him, it doesn't matter if he stands up because he's on place. But if you were in the down and somebody were to come over and try to pet him or pet him, whatever, and he gets up, you have to correct that. You have to go back to that down position. Okay? So going forward, you can use these interchangeably. If anything, I tell people to like kind of push more with the down stuff to get them on the kind of same level. And then once they're on the same level, you can swap between them back and forth. And if anything, if you can lay down for a period of time and not move, it makes that a lot easier because that's more lenient.
So I use, like this morning, I told him to wait, and so we've taught him where maybe I'll say wait, and I'll go to like get something, and he'll still wait there, but it can't be too far. If it's too far,
yeah, he doesn't always do it.
He doesn't always do it, but like if it's not too, like if I told him to wait here, and I went to that door, he'll wait. But I almost feel like he has to see me. But he does wait. But we would not now, in your case, you wouldn't say wait, you'll just say down.
So down would be lay down and don't move.
And don't move, yeah.
Which is technically an option.
Yeah.
Right? So typically, when clients use wait, it's more of a momentary wait.
Yeah.
Like let's say they're going to cross the threshold, like wait, and they'll look and they're like, okay, let's go. Like it means like you are going to move, just wait for the cue. Whereas down would be a lay down and don't move until I tell you to, okay? And you can build up to that. The easiest one would be to do place and like send him to place and then get up and walk off and then come back because now he has a reference point. And it's easier to correct place than it would be to correct down, at least at this stage, okay? But technically if you want him to not move, you would have any one of those, or even sit is an option as well. Other questions?
No, we'll have a lot of work to do on this one.
Yeah, so the whole sitting down that we were doing, if you each did about 3 to 5 minutes a piece, that's all you need. Okay. And then I just go to application. So sit is like the most used but not useful command. Like people say sit for everything.
Yeah.
Right? But because I teach sit as a default for so many behaviors, it's really not used that much in my line of training. But sit is also a stationary command. So like let's say after he poops, you're like, hey Russ, sit. He sits down and can pick up his poop and not have to worry about him being all over the place. That's where that can come into play. And then just finding where you can apply these commands, because once you've taught them, right, then it's application, because that's what makes it functional. Okay. Anything else?
What I can think of. Yeah, we have our work cut out for us.
Yeah. So some nice inside stuff for you guys to work on.
Yeah.
And then most likely next week we'll start the recall or whatever, so you can start working on long leash stuff. The other command we have to do is the stay, which I use differently than other trainers, so we'll go over that as well. Okay.
Obviously we still practice the place, but should we increase the amount of hours he's staying in place? We had really 2 hours at a time. Should we now try to 3?
So think about what would be applicable to you. Right, so it's like, yeah, we would need Russ to not move for 3 hours. Then yeah, every now and then you want to be, I would say at least three times a week. If you're doing more, that's perfect, that's great. It's just a lot of people feel bad. like, oh, but the dog's just laying
Some of
there.
them like, oh, he's just sitting there, just like.
Most of the time he falls asleep.
He just falls asleep.
Yeah.
But he stays there and he doesn't move. He just looks mopey.
Yeah.
But it's like, it helped for us because we're watching TV and stuff.
Yeah,
We're doing it pretty much almost every day with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's funny because most people, like 98% of my clients, blow off stationary stuff because it's so easy to do, right? And then later on, when they actually need it, they're trying to use it, and it's not
we need
effective.
it. So
Yeah,
that was like, he moves around too much, so I was like, I need it.
Yeah, I do it during like the work day and then we'll do it at
Yeah,
night.
sometimes I'll come down and I'll see him sitting there during the work day.
Yeah.
He just is sitting there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what it's meant for. I go, here's the stuff, and you go, great, we'll use it here and here and here and here, and I go, awesome. Or some people just go, we'll just use it here. I go, all right, cool, that's fine too. Okay, so this just gives you another option, and definitely a more challenging one because he has to, not just sit still, but sit still in a very specific position. Okay, now I don't care how he lays down. I don't need him to be like this, or like on his side, or on his back. Like, I don't care what it looks like. I just care that he's in a down position and he doesn't move for a period of time. Okay, so it doesn't need to look all fancy or anything like that. Right here, to me, looks uncomfortable. Once he gets more comfortable, you would see him swivel his hips to the side, right?
But you would never, we would never say down and keep him there for like 3 hours. We would just say place, right? Or to give him room to
You do either or.
Okay.
So down is meant for a long period of time. It's just more strict.
Yeah,
If we didn't have a towel or something.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah. I wouldn't say place and then down him on place. Okay, because then it becomes a down. It's not a place no more. And people get confused or they'll forget that they place or that they down their dog on place. So when the dog gets up, they're thinking, oh, the dog's on place, so it's okay. And no, it's not because you said down. It's actually, it's a down on place.
Down is like the most strict. You're
That's it. Yeah.
So this place you can eat in this little doggy bed. He can get up. He can sit up. He can be down. He can do, but he stays in that vicinity.
Correct.
Yeah.
So this one's a little bit more strict, a little bit more challenging. So definitely, you can use them interchangeably. And then anything else?
The other question was just kind of unrelated. Just since it's been like the weather's been so shitty, I feel like we haven't been able to like give him as much exercise as we normally do since unless he comes here.
Yeah.
Do you have any like tips for inside the house exercise?
I mean, like physical exercise or just exercise in general?
I guess it's just he doesn't get his like our walks.
Normally I take him on like 2-3 mile walks.
That just doesn't happen anymore because it's just 0 degrees.
Sure. Well, one would be, there's always treadmill. 2, this is actually exercise.
Oh,
This is a mental exercise.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just like what we do here, it's just mentally taxing, especially if you're doing like the 2 to 3 hour kind of ranges and stuff, like that's also very taxing.
Okay, and then with the sit and down training and stuff like that too.
Yeah,
Okay.
So all that is still some form of exercise.
Okay.
If you're looking for physical, the only other thing would be like treadmill, what's the one for his size that we use here? I think I paid like $350, maybe $500-ish for it. And it's like
not too bad.
maybe 3 feet by 4 feet. It's not that big.
Yeah.
And it's good for a dog his size.
Yeah.
So, but I think he'd be fine with just like the stuff that you've been doing.
Okay.
Because you are, working with him. It's just not physical.
Okay.